Ever thought about selling on eBay, Poshmark, other e-commerce platforms? Well, we're thinking about the same things, and we're going to tell you our thoughts on the subject and some ideas that maybe will help you figure out if you should do this or not. So let's get started.
And away we go.
Welcome to the Prof Sales YouTube channel. I am Prof Sales.
And I'm, what's his name?
What's her name?
Huh? Oh, no, who does the and away we go? It'll come to me like at 3 a.m. And I'm Just Ask Kaaren. Happy Wednesday, good people.
Thanks for joining us here on the channel where we talk about being in business for yourself, being an entrepreneur, being a reseller on sites like eBay, Amazon, Poshmark, and just really having a nice positive community here in this little corner of the internet. We are glad you guys are here.
Yes, we are.
I thought you were going to say something.
I'm always going to say something. You never know what I'm going to say. But if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We might as well get that out of the way right now. Yeah. There's a little alarm bell thingy. If you connect with that, it'll tell you every time we're on this crazy interweb. And if something makes you smile or you learn a little nugget or something makes you happy, smash the like button, mateys.
There's our pirate. One quick programming note too, and we might repeat this one at least once, but just that sometimes we get people who come on the channel who they basically want to promote their channel or some other channel, right? They're like, hey, I got this cool channel, check it out, or so-and-so's got this great channel, check it out. And the reality is we're not always sure, you know, what those channels say or don't say. They may be awesome. They may not be so awesome. That's really not up for us to decide. But what is up for us to decide is, you know, just a promotion in general. So if you are interested in promoting your channel during a live stream, which is going to be live right now, or during the playback, people will be able to see it as well. You can do that as long as it's a clean channel, as long as it's related to reselling and so on. Not a problem. The only thing we would ask, though, is, and this is pretty standard on a lot of channels out there, if you want to do that, please consider donating a super chat to us. It doesn't have to be big, a couple bucks, and your post will stay up there for a while, and people can check it out, and they go to your channel. So I think it's kind of fair to compensate creators. And when I go to someone else's channel, if I really want to promote my channel and they have a larger one, I would do the same thing.
So yeah, so just a little YouTube etiquette 101.
Yep.
No, so Magic Mandy got the bait. Zzz. You see that comment about Star Wars Risk? It's a thing.
Star Wars Risk. We actually have 2 of them. Yep, no. There's another one right there. It's right there. Right.
Oh yeah,
there.
But the other one is
nope, it's Star Wars. It's Risk.
No,
right
Risk, and then Stratego, and then the other thing.
Yes, so we have a couple of them. Those are really valuable, by the way.
So Kaaren is finally listing and selling all the thingies, right? And one of the things I've been doing since my son was born was buying up just about everything that said Star Wars on it, as you can see behind us.
I'm going to move that closer. People like.
Well, then people will see all the thingies.
Well, they want to see the things, I think. Go ahead.
Just keep it. Oh, okay. So, well, why don't we just talk about me then while you're doing that? So one of the things that isn't on the agenda, but like at the bottom, is that I'm finally getting to listing all of those thingies, and I'm actually selling them. And I must be the most conscientious shipper, packer, seller in the world because, one, I'm getting feedback on great packing job, but especially with this collectible Star Wars stuff, it came from a healthy, happy, safe place, and I want to get it to someone else in one piece, still collectible, etc. So I'm very careful. And you don't know this, but be on the lookout. I have something coming from Amazon. I finally broke down, and as part of my added over-the-top customer service thing, like I write on every packing slip, whether it's his or mine, ours, whatever. But I went ahead and ordered a bunch of craft paper, like little heart-shaped stickers. And some other stickers that I'm going to use on the inside and the outside that say, you know, basically, thank you, enjoy, thanks for the order. There is one sticker that I'm just going to make my own because it's too expensive to order it on Amazon, but it's a thanks for the feedback. We really want the 5 stars. Give us an opportunity to earn your this and that. But there's only one company and they're way too much. So I can print it myself for a lot. And I've done it before. So I've done it for a lot less than that. So I think I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, Alicia Hernandez says, do you have the 2018 spreadsheet? The link is actually in the description, Alicia, and it's actually a 10-year spreadsheet. So you can use it for the next 10 years if you like. I think Kaaren is grabbing our little Mr.
Our little
Thingy,
mascot.
whatever the heck this thing is. So who even knows? And DJ asks, what's with Poshmark? Every YouTuber an eBayer is talking about it. Well, it's interesting. You know, we started talking about it kind of about a week or so ago.
Well, correction. Sorry to interrupt. We've been talking about it for a long time.
For months, for sure. But we actually created an account a few days back. I guess it was last week sometime. I actually haven't listed anything yet, but I'm working on it. I'm getting there. But we thought it would kind of be like we posed the title of this show as a question, right? And I like doing that because I am never one who's going to come here and say that I have all the answers or Kaaren has all the answers. You might have all the answers.
I do. I have all the answers because it's just ask Kaaren and I'll answer just about any question. So there you go.
Yeah, but at the same time, we do like to ask questions and kind of start thinking about things that we're thinking about doing, and kind of working it through in our brain before we jump into it. We subscribe to the measure twice, cut once mentality, because that way you don't make a bunch of unnecessary cuts. So we thought it would be cool to talk about our take on it, our take on this thing of this idea of cross-posting and selling on different platforms, and what some of the pros and cons are, and is it really worth it?
Well, and I have to always feel like I have to put a disclaimer, right? And I know you guys probably get tired of hearing me, but it's kind of a waste of my breath sometimes, because even though like with the last 2 videos ago, I'll even say, please watch the entire video. We're not saying that the bins are bad, or we're not saying that we know everything about Poshmark. We're new at it. But we are gladly offering ourselves up as guinea pigs, because the one thing that we both do believe in is, just like nostrils, everybody's got them, right? Opinions are like, I'm going to not say what you're supposed to really say there, but everybody's got an opinion, right? And there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than someone with one that's uneducated, that they're like, oh, Poshmark is yucky, or it's this, or it's that. Well, okay, but have you done it? So in order for us to give any sort of educated response or guidance to people that come to us asking questions, we're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And as we go through the outline here, you'll see that it's not just Poshmark that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
There's myriad options for how you can sell online, right?
Right. And just to, I had a question or something there, and now I can't find it. Some people are making a lot of great comments in the feed and talking about that it is profitable. AWLA says that. James says it's okay. I do better on a tie there most of the time, but not as many customers, so it's slower, which is fair. I mean, these are all things to consider. Susanna says it's a great platform. The profits are far better, and believes strongly in cross-posting. So that's kind of the idea, guys. Is we're going to talk about this idea of cross-posting, and we're going to use eBay and Poshmark as examples, but there's obviously other examples.
Hey, and speaking of super chats, we just got one.
Dragon Tiss.
Love it.
I learned so much from you. Thank you very much, right? We learn far more from this community than we will ever give back. So we'll do our best to give back, but it's not even come close to what we've learned. I mean, I was just talking with a couple other sellers, over the last hour, and like some of the stuff I just learned about some things, some categories of products and so on, and how they sell. Oh my gosh, just crazy. I'm not going to go into it because it'll take 15 minutes to explain it all, but it was a thing.
So as always, let's define our terms, right? What does it mean to cross-post, Prof? And usually our cue sheet would have the Webster's written out, but all it says is cross-posting definition. So
well, I don't think it's complicated.
No, it's not. I'll give like what I think it is, and then I'm sure you're going to fill in like all the other thingies that I leave out.
Yeah.
But basically what it means to cross-post, for those who are new to the term, is it means that you are going to list or post your item on more than one platform. Yes? That's
right. And that's exactly it. Like you're posting the same item in multiple places, 2 or more. That's it. And at the same time, or roughly the same time.
Right. Yeah. The whole point is you're listing it potentially simultaneously, right?
Right. And the idea, and we're going to get in, somebody asked a question, learning all I can about if it sells on both platforms at the same time. But we'll get into that in just a moment. So hold that thought. But I do appreciate the question. And I just want to talk about what I thought some of the pros of it are in general. And then we'll talk about some of the cons. The pros are you get exposure for your item on 2 different platforms, right?
Right.
2 different audiences see it. 2 different platforms. Google might even pick it up and throw it up in a search result because it's in more than one place, potentially. You know, you're giving yourself another option there to do it, and that's a good thing.
I agree. And so that's a math thing, right? The more that see it brings us to number 2. Math, again, potentially you're going to sell it quicker, right? Think about it. If more people see it, if the opportunity to see, view, purchase your item is out there, the likelihood that you will sell it quicker becomes greater. You know,
say you were opening a brick and mortar store and you sold widgets in this brick and mortar store, and you realized that part of your ability to sell widgets was based on your location. So you might go open a store in another location, and another location, another location. And then you got to start figuring out things, well, like, is it really profitable? And how many widgets can I sell? And how many widgets do I need to sell? Those are all secondary questions and important. But ultimately, you're giving yourself a chance to sell more of your products just by having it in more locations than one. Like, you're putting it in more stores. They just happen to be e-commerce stores in this case. Number 3, these are all pros, I think. Diversification. And we preach that a lot here. And what we mean by that is you may be selling on one platform and it might fall off. Maybe it's because of what you're selling. Maybe the platform's had a lack of traffic. Maybe you don't have the right product you're selling for the right time of year, the right pricing. All kinds of reasons could happen. But when you're selling on more than one platform, then if one falls off, the other one can take up some of the slack by definition.
And it's interesting timing-wise that we're talking about this, because I'm in a plushie group, and there's been a lot of talk lately about how some of these stuffed animal, these plushies will sit on eBay for a long period of time. And a couple folks have posted recently that they put it on Mercari, bam, it's gone. It's out of there.
It was gone. And it's interesting how it will sell on one platform and not another. You know, and we never really know. It could have sold on the first one eventually anyway, but it's great to have that diversification. You want to mention that?
Oh, so speaking of super chats, hey, Connie, last week, apparently you were asked about your own channel in the chat. So we're going to talk about your channel right now by virtue of the super chat. Yes?
There you go. Thank you very much, Connie. So please go check out Connie's channel, My Flipping Life. And thank you very much for the super chat. Very much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Hey, Lauren, thanks for wrenching. Appreciate, as always. And I know you have lots to say about this and all the other things we're going to talk about.
Yes, and we're going to ask some questions of you guys, too, in the chat. And because we want people to see this feed afterwards. That's very important. So don't feel like just because you're saying it in the chat, it's going to be gone. And then if you're watching this later, please leave a question or comment down below. We'd love to hear from you and your opinion.
Yeah, because if you have a question about it, I guarantee you somebody else does, too. And always be constructive when you leave your comments. It's important. Number 4.
And this one's kind of a little weird. I don't even know exactly totally what I meant by this one.
Well, I'm going to read it because I don't know really what you meant either, but you can elaborate. How's that?
Great.
So number 4 says a pro to the multi-platform approach is that you can establish your presence, your selling presence.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's something that kind of goes beyond you know, I think it might even help you in a way in terms of that search engine optimization. If you're selling items out there on multiple platforms, it's possible that Google is going to push you more because it sees like an ID or an email address or something associated back to you, and it realizes, well, maybe that's what people are looking for in this case. It could push you up for somebody who just happens to be, because never forget, guys, people do search for items in Google and then get directed to a platform. They don't always start on the platform. We forget that sometimes. A lot of people come from off platform to the platform because they did a search. So if you can get pushed up in Google search, maybe by having, and maybe somebody who's diversified more can speak to this. Have you ever seen one of your listings be on page 1 of Google search results for that listing? I mean, that's pretty cool. Like, you're going to get some traffic to that listing when that happens. So I think that's a great pro. Red Neckerson, thanks so much for the super chat. Much appreciated, sir. The $1.77 makes an appearance. I love it.
As always, the $1.77, not only does it give us pause to reflect, but it gives us a smile because 177 is just awesome. Thank you.
Yes, and every time I see that, I think about Interstate 77, which is here in Charlotte.
Not far from our door, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's not that far. All right, so those are some pros we came up with. If you guys have other ones, you can definitely throw them in the chat. Leave them in the comment down below. We'd love to hear them because we're still learning this cross-posting, the pros as well.
Well, let me start with number 4 because one person's pro.
4 of what?
Number 4, like when we get into cons.
Okay.
Because Kelly, our sock guru.
Sock goddess.
Sock
says
goddess.
It right there. Sock queen.
Well, queen goddess. But she actually brought up a pro for her that we listed as a con. And that's because she sells and knows all things socks, right? So in her case, listing on multiple platforms, because she has all of these quantities and varieties, is a plus for her. It's never a detriment, right? But we put actually as a con, if it's that one Vineyard Vines hoodie or that one Star Wars wrist game or whatever, a con could be, and stay with me, I know this is counterintuitive sounding, but a con could be that you actually sell it in both places at the same time. And now what?
Yeah, and some people were talking about that earlier, and they said, you know, eBay doesn't like it at all if you take an item down. If you cannot fulfill an order because you're out of stock, because you are out of stock at that moment. And that's probably, I would argue, I mean, it's probably the biggest disadvantage, but it's also probably the least likely to happen. Because here's where it could happen to you. If, like, let's say it's Friday and you work a Monday through Friday kind of schedule like we do, although we do work a bunch of Saturdays as well, like here, and you decide, well, I'm not going to ship anything else out until Monday. And then the item sells over the weekend. Maybe you're even gone, you're away from your computer, and then it sells on the other platform too. And you just can't get there in time, or it even sells overnight when you're asleep. Those things do happen from time to time. There are situations. It's not super likely, but it's super annoying. But from what I know about Poshmark, you're probably better to cancel on Poshmark. Canceling on eBay absolutely can affect your seller rating, and you could even lose your potential to sell on the platform. So I would not recommend that. I would recommend disappoint the Poshmark buyer if you're going to disappoint anyone.
And this from the new Poshmarkers. Lauren, you can tell us if that's a better trade-off.
Monica thinks the same thing. Cancel on Poshmark, not eBay. Yeah, I mean, Susanna says eBay penalizes you for not having an item in stock. They think we're employees, I guess. No, Susanna, but I don't think it's unreasonable for eBay to expect you to have the item in inventory if you have it listed. I mean, you're a third-party seller, and a condition of you being a third-party seller is if you say you have 5 of an item, you should have 5. Now, eBay does have glitches and screws up quantities sometimes. That is true. But ultimately, if it was on you, there probably should eventually be some sort of not retribution, but some sort of penalty for that because you're disappointing a buyer. And there even have been sellers who have done that sort of thing. Say, well, it's a bait and switch. Like, yeah, I'm out of that, but why don't you check out this item that I had that's really cool? You know, and that's not right either. So I kind of get eBay's point here. They don't want you to be out of an item, obviously, because it's not good for buyers and it's not good for other sellers too. It hurts the credibility of the platform. But anyway, all right, number 2 for cons. You want to start at the beginning?
Yeah. So number 2 is number 1. So that would be you.
Doubling your listing time. So you can take the same photos and use them on eBay and Poshmark or other platforms as well in a lot of cases, right? So photos are about the same amount of time, but you have to make a second listing. And that does take some extra time. If you've gotten let's say that, you know, you've gotten your listing down to maybe 5 minutes on eBay, and Poshmark's probably a little simpler to list on, so maybe it's 3, but you've added 60% more time to every listing. That doesn't sound like a lot, 3 minutes, but if you're doing hundreds and hundreds of listings a month, that adds up. So it effectively drops your hourly rate. So you need to make that back up either in terms of average selling price or quicker sell through, more profit. There's all kinds of different ways to do that. but it does affect your listing time and decrease your overall hourly rate if nothing else changes. And that's a drawback for sure. And you can get very quick. People are saying you can copy and paste from eBay to Poshmark. That's true. You can be very fast at it, but it still takes some time more. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So you want to think about, and maybe Poshmark's a great example of a platform you could more easily transfer an eBay listing to Poshmark than say to maybe some other platform where you're not, it's not as eBay integrated friendly. That's the right word.
Yep. So number 3, bit of a learning curve. So there's separate business and shipping practices that you have to learn and integrate and utilize, right? Right.
All these platforms are different and they all have different sets of rules. Some are very similar, obviously, but we've already learned that the business practices and shipping practices, you're gonna have to take some time to learn that. You're gonna have to take some time to make sure that it makes sense. You could put in there too, like fee structures and how you get your money on and off the platform, things like that. You're gonna have to take the time and energy to learn that. And you did it for eBay, and eBay changes. And by the way, Poshmark will change too. Somebody just mentioned in the chat that Poshmark doesn't penalize you right now if you take down a listing, but that might change in the future. I agree. That very likely will change in the future, especially if they grow the platform, because you will end up disappointing buyers, and they don't want that.
Right. And so that it doesn't escape us and we don't bring it up. But another con potentially Luke brought up is that there's currently not a third-party software to plug into to use employees on Poshmark for listing. There's also not, did we say that later in the thingy and I'm going to miss it? But there's also not right now a third-party software that cross-posts it simultaneously. Right. Or
takes it.
Or pulls them down.
Right. Because we know that there are some options out there that allow you to do multi-channel posting and fulfillment. Not so much posting, but fulfillment. Like you can say, all right, this listing is up on eBay and it's also up on another platform. But there's not any that really integrate for a lot of multiple platforms very easily, and they all have their drawbacks. So in other words, if you're listing on 3 different platforms, you're going to have to keep track of when it sells, not only that it's sold, but to take it down on the other 2. You literally need to take that listing down because you don't want it selling there and then you don't have a way to fulfill it. That could get very complicated if you have quantity of an item, because I could see a situation where maybe you have, let's say you have 30 of an item and it sells fairly regularly, and you list 10 on eBay, 10 on Poshmark, 10 on Mercari, Bonanza, whatever, and you start selling through on them. You're going to have to keep track of that quantity very, very carefully between those platforms, because you don't really have 30 on eBay. You don't have 30 on you have 30 total that are being divvied up between the platforms. So you have to keep track of one number, but on those individual platforms, you might need to change it, because I wouldn't list that as you could say, well, I have 30 on eBay, 30 on Poshmark, 30 on Mercari. But then every time one sells, you've got to go in there and change that listing somehow to say, I have one less now on all 3 of them. So that could get a little complicated with multi-quantity listings. Maybe somebody's got a better idea about that, but I'm not really sure how you could do that right now and make it simple.
And it speaks to our number 4 con, right? That not only do you have to modify the quantities, but once something does sell, let's say it's a single thing, you're going to have to take it down from all of the places. And that is the one biggest hurdle that has kept us from cross-posting, I think.
Yeah, it kind of has, because I realized, and Luke was talking about too, there's not a great third-party solution to this problem, because honestly, these are the sorts of things computers are really good at, but to my knowledge, there hasn't been a software developed, a program that's been developed that will allow you to very easily integrate all these channels. And when one sells in one place, it's gone. There are some, and they all have their own drawbacks and so on. Ultimately, I would probably want to oversee it, but that's very minutia based and not something really I should be spending my time on.
Well, and Learning All I Can states that as long as you can monitor all the thingies, all the platforms on your mobile device, that maybe it wouldn't be that bad. However, when you have several thousand listings,
even several hundred
would
be,
Yeah, it's that minutia thing. It's the going back and forth, and that's where you get tripped up, and that's where you make mistakes.
Think about this. Think if you cross-listed between 3 platforms, and every day you sold on average 10 items. So on every day you would have to be, pulling those 10 items, but you'd also have to be pulling down 20 items. Mm-hmm. You'd have to be pulling them down from the other 2 platforms that didn't sell on. So in effect, a 10 order day would become like a 30 order day in a strange way. And not that it takes a lot of time, but it's easy to make mistakes. It's easy to forget. It's definitely, I almost think that, you really want to think about, well, we're going to move into what we think we would need to do this and what we plan to do with Poshmark and so on. So we got like 4 tips here for you that I think of what you'll need to cross post easily, at least what we're going to be focused on. There's probably more, so please share those in the chat. The first one is a super organized inventory system with spots for where you have cross-posted items. You need to somehow denote that in your system where you've cross-posted these items. Otherwise, when that item sells, how are you going to know where to take it down from?
Mm-hmm. Well, Beth Ann said earlier up in the chat that she puts PM for Poshmark in the SKU, the inventory tag, and ET for Etsy. So there you go. That's differentiating. That's giving yourself a flag, a heads up that that's where it's listed.
Right. And if you want to do it on the tag, that's perfect. If you want to do it on a spreadsheet, like on our sheet, we do that. I mean, we put it, when I developed that spreadsheet workbook, I didn't really think about multi-platform selling. Mm-hmm. And it's because I had somebody ask me about it a week or so ago. And I'm like, you know what? There's not a simple way to do it. Mm-hmm. So you could put out in a note field. You could do that. You could say also listed on. You could create a whole nother column for a platform and the platforms you're selling it on. But it's still tricky to figure that out. So that's one thing you're going to need, a super organized system. The second thing is you're going to need inventory labels.
Oh, well, just go on with all 4 of them there, Prof. So number 2 says inventory labels in each listing, so you'll be able to find it. And we kind of talked about that a little bit.
Well, in the listing itself, because now the listing sells, and I suppose that the listing sells, but it's like where is it? Well, if you're listing on Poshmark and eBay, you're going to need to list it on 2 different places. You're going to need to put somewhere in that listing, whether it's a custom SKU field or in the title or description or whatever, where it is in your inventory. It should be only in one place, right? Because it's just one item. But the point is, how are you going to find it when it sells? Like, you're going to need some way to know, oh, I sold item number 427. Great. But where is it? Like, you're going to need some backups, whether your spreadsheet or whatever. So you're only going to put that in the listing somewhere, the title somehow delineate that so that you can find it.
Number 3.
Number 3. You need listing efficiencies to keep up with the cross-posting. We talked about that. You've got to be fast with your listing. Maybe it's copying, pasting with Poshmark. Maybe it's coming up with, batching tasks together, which we found a lot of great success with. But it's going to slow you down some, for sure. You're doing it for a reason. Hopefully to have the pros well outweigh the cons, but since it's going to slow you down, you need to be very fast with your efficiencies when you list, as quick as you can be. Just like you should always be doing that. If you're cross-posting and you haven't kind of gotten your listing process down, that's something you probably want to nail down before you're going to do it. Mm-hmm.
And eBay is probably the most detailed listing platform that we've encountered, right? And I think most everybody agrees. Yeah, detailed's the word. But I've found that when we take something from eBay and then put it onto, and we didn't really talk about the differences in cross-posting, but we're talking about all of the platforms here, not just eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Amazon, etc. We're also talking about cross-posting. You can cross-post on local apps like Craigslist, LetGo, OfferUp, even the Facebook selling groups, right? And the Facebook marketplace.
Let's cover a couple of these comments before we get to the last, what we think you'll need. Clarence just said, would it make sense to list 20 on eBay and 20 on other platforms instead of 40 to both? Maybe. I mean, you might want to do it that way. You're still going to have to adjust quantities when you sell it, but sure. Only list 10 on each platform. Then each one can say separate and run out of stock without affecting the others. You could do that as well. Let's see. There were some other things here too. Some people, this person said on another show, that people do buy the same collectible items on 2 platforms at the same time because they think they're trying to put together a set. That could be. Let's see. Kelly says start small with cross posting until you get comfy with your system. Totally agree with that. Sure. I would absolutely I would start with 1 item, maybe 5 at the most. Don't go crazy with it until you kind of understand the platform.
Well, and certainly have in place already a really good inventory system, because it's bad enough when you misplace, lose, etc., something within one platform's inventory system. But imagine now that you've added another variable. And so that's why we can't stress enough how getting your processes in order is mission critical.
Yeah. Having a system, and Jerry, you're all over it, says SKU numbers, which are, store keeping units, stock keeping units, I've heard them called both, are for inventory tracking. They should get a SKU as soon as they enter inventory system. Yep. It should be that same number, same set of combination of numbers, letters, whatever you use, no matter where it goes no matter where you sell it. That way, that sticks with that. That is granular to that one particular item. It doesn't need to change just because it's on a different platform necessarily.
And we never reuse SKUs. No. I know that some people do, but no. For the history, future, etc. No. Don't even get me started on that. And the final thing here, I think it's you, right? Yeah, and this is a biggie, and one that could be a con, but that we will choose to embrace. You have to learn a new platform. You have to learn something new, and sometimes that can be bumpy. Is it prohibitive?
I'm not sure I understand eBay yet.
Is it going to keep you from doing it? No, but to be realistic, you've got to show yourself some grace, give yourself some time. Don't do it half BUTT. Do it all the way, right? So you're going to have to learn some. But, half a.
Butte, Montana?
No, that would have an E on the end. But anyway, don't do it halfway. Don't go in it. You're going to have to learn something new. And if you're going to be good at this something new, learn it. Don't do it halfway. Don't do it watch some YouTube video and just based on what somebody told you they did, that's all you need. And you put these blinders on, because it's not. In order to experience it fully and smartly, and go out and be productive with it, I think you really need to educate yourself and invest in yourself enough time to educate yourself well.
Yes, absolutely. Phew. Yeah, and I'd love to keep hearing. You guys have been sharing them, your experiences you've had with cross-posting. What's been really rewarding? What's been really challenging maybe? Because people seeing that here in the chat, they'll see this after this video post. And please leave those sorts of experiences you've had in the comments down below after this video post, because this is how people learn, guys. And it's honestly how we learn. We're kind of doing it for a selfish reason here to some degree. Hey, I'd like to hear what was great, what was not so great. Right. So at least I can be, on the lookout. I can learn some things from your experiences. But what's really been great for you if you have cross-posted, and maybe what's been not so great.
Well, and also we didn't put this in our thing, but I think one of the hurdles, obstacles that were keeping us from, say, Posh, for example, and Lauren, please, you can speak to this with great authority, but the whole social aspect of it, the liking people, the following people, the closets, the promotions, all that stuff, staying on top of it. We didn't talk about that in the doubling your listing time, but with Posh in particular, there's a lot of keeping up with the Kardashians, for lack of better.
Social
but part. So that kind of kept us from it. So I don't know how good we're going to be at that. I don't know how good you're going to be at that, but there's a level of.
It's funny you say that, but I mean, because we have this YouTube channel, but on some level, I detest social media. And it's probably because it seems like an awful lot of wasted energy spent, perusing other people's nonsense, commenting and buying into things that don't really go very far or help anyone, and social media has a lot of, I'm not so sure we're better for it as a society, but that's a whole nother argument for a whole nother video. But I realize it's here to stay, and it's part of the game, and it's part of the Poshmark game more so than it is the eBay game, right? Mm-hmm. I get that part of it. So I'm going to have to navigate that. You're exactly right. Like that's a challenge for me for sure.
So Lauren just spoke to, she puts her, shares her entire closet, her virtual closet.
I don't even know how you share your closet. See, I'm such a noob at this.
Usually in the morning she'll share her entire closet, and that's it unless she has extra time.
The closet is like your thing of listings, your bundle of listings.
Come out of the closet.
I don't think that's what it is. So I like Poshmark, but I hate the sharing aspect. Yeah, and it seems like it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, I struggle with the whole like popularity.
I'm getting invited like to makeup parties on there, and I'm going, what the heck is this crap? You know, like, why is this coming to me? Like, there's nothing I put in my profile.
Is there something you need to tell me?
Apparently, there's nothing I put in my profile that I told them that, oh, I'm interested in going to a makeup party. Like, how? I don't know. It's really weird.
Oh, it's making me cry.
I didn't tell you that part, did I? I had one this morning. It's like the makeup party's starting and you're invited. And I'm going, there's no chance of me going to that. Jason's going to all the makeup parties. I know, right? I need to get some more rouge.
Oh, I'm turning red.
I just like saying rouge. It sounds fun.
I don't even think girls call it that anymore.
See, that's how little I know about it. I don't know about
Don't invite Jason to your makeup party, ladies.
I would bring nothing to the party. Like, I'll bring the bag of ice. That's all I got to bring to the party. That's all I know how to do. So, but yeah, those are some of the things that, you know, we think cross-posting is good for, not so good for, easier, harder, and kind of where we're looking to go with it.
So 2 comments back to back. So Lisa just burst your bubble. Hey, Prof, those party invites are automatic. Wah, wah.
I don't mind they're automatic. I just wish they'd be to something a little more manly. I don't know what. I don't think there is anything on there. Like, welcome to the hunting party, you know, or
the fishing party.
Yeah, the, you know, driving a rocket ship party. I don't know.
Whatever. So, and maybe someday, and Connie brought it up, that you'll be chosen as a host pick on Poshmark. Like, I've seen that. It's like this highlighted thingy. Like, Lauren gets picked for that stuff all the time. She's like the hostess with the mostest. Tell the truth.
And that part of it does fascinate me because it does sound like a real opportunity to get your closet out there to people and make sales, right? Because that's really what we're doing it for. I mean, you're connecting to a community to hopefully impact your sales. And you're seeing other people's stuff too, so maybe you'll buy their stuff as well.
Car repair party. That's right there.
Car repair party. That could be cool. There could be lots of things. But anyway, let's get off of this subject.
So I'll digress. So DJ mentioned that pool noodles are on sale now, people, because pool season is right around the corner.
Great for boots.
Yes. So go to the dollar store. You gonna grab some?
I'm gonna grab the box.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna talk about the box. So pool noodles, you can cut them and use them to shape your shoes and your boots. And I'll usually turn 1 pool noodle into a set or 2, and nothing goes to waste. So even if there's only a piece this big, will you grab a set of those pool noodle pieces too, please? They're over there at
like these, right?
Sure. Yep. So this is what we're talking about. And it's, you know, $1 at the dollar store. You can go to Target and Walmart and pay more, but you cut them to size and they will make your boots very...
Or you can make them even smaller and make a
right.
shoe.
That's what I was saying. I don't let any of them go to waste.
Right.
So I'll do a couple that are 12-inch, and then even a piece that's this big still will help with photographs and reshaping a shoe. So nothing... Oh, here they are right here. Look. There's my little mini one, but even this will go in an ankle boot, and then I have a size even smaller that I'll use to even pump up a tennis shoe or something. Just if it's all about taking a better picture.
Oh yeah,
we will take a better picture.
Speaking of boxes, did you want to show that?
Yes. So if you haven't already, order your free eBay supplies, right?
Quarterly coupon.
Your quarterly coupon is up and going, and that's my department, shipping, as you know. And I was really excited because the boot box has come back, and it is a 16 by 12 by 8-inch box. And I used our entire coupon on boot boxes, and they came yesterday, not in the rain, which was good. But look at this look at this beautiful box. So that's the size. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So 16 by 12. And look at this.
Nice size
I could
box.
put your head in there. Grab that pair of boots and we'll show them. See the long brown ones? It's not the best example, but it's.
Yeah, they're kind of stuck in the.
They're at the bottom of the box. I'm telling him to look in, right?
Of course.
So watch. So I'll do like an example of noodles and boots. So these beautiful boots.
Those could even have a longer noodle.
Did you just say longer noodle? All right. So so hold that. We should have practiced this or something because
I didn't know we were going to do this. I wasn't going to practice it.
Well, DJ's the one that brought up the noodles.
All
I
right.
put that in there just because otherwise they'll flop. All right, so hold this. And so look, these boots are not going to fit. Great.
They're going to be close. Yeah, I think they will. Then cross the other one.
But there, so not ideal, but look, this is probably the longest pair of boots we have. And without the noodle, it could be done.
Yeah,
but longer cowboy boots, you probably cannot put a tennis racket in there, but that's the infamous boot box that a quarter ago or so went out of stock and now it's back. And, you know, maybe we got the last 2 boxes, maybe we didn't, whatever.
And be careful folding boots over and so on. That will put creases in some of them. Mm-hmm. So try not to do that when you ship them because people will get them and they're not happy.
And it's all about keeping people happy on the other end, right?
It's all about that. Speaking of all that, you've had some sales lately.
I have. I don't know what we were going to talk about. So on my little store, and it's not even a store, it's just little old me, but I'm selling like a thing a day, right?
You're doing great.
And I'm making offers and counter offering. And I sold a little thing today. And
Did you list the Nutcracker yet?
No. Shh. Why are you talking about the Nutcracker?
I don't know.
Yeah, so the Star Wars. All right, we'll talk about it then. No, you brought it up. Talk about it.
I thought you were going to ask about you could ask about the pricing and so on.
Well, now we have to.
You don't have to.
Well, no, we're gonna now because you brought it up. So yeah, so this little fella doesn't exist. He's an Adler wooden Nutcracker from 2009, back when it was still Lucasfilm, right? Not Disney.
Right.
And because of where he came from, this blue box is not the one that you see all over the place. So my big debate is, do I sell it for, you know, the highest price? Do I put it down low? So I came up with something kind of in the middle. And he's not listed yet because I was going to take pictures, but then this show happened and you took my photography lights away. So there's that. So yeah, so Mr. Stormtrooper Nutcracker.
Yeah, that could be a nice listing potentially.
Yep.
Speaking of stormtroopers, Luke.
Luke. He hates it. Don't call him that.
I didn't say. I just said Luke. I just said his name. You're the one who did the big.
Father.
Anyway.
No, he doesn't like to be called Luke, like the football player.
Right, the football player. So Luke of Endless Entrepreneurs. He was here in the chat earlier. I'm not sure if he still is, but he and I are doing a show tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be cool. We'll post I'm not even sure if we're doing it on my channel or his channel, to be totally honest with you yet. I don't know if we ever nail that down, but we'll post the title here, you know, probably tomorrow and so on. But Luke and I have done shows before, but it's been a while. Luke has actually kind of not been on YouTube as much doing shows lately, but he's sort of getting back into some of those. So that's going to be cool. And, we have a topic that I think will be interesting to you guys. You know, it's always tricky to find the great topics because honestly, you know, you do enough of these shows and these videos after a while, it gets hard to keep coming up with topics. You know, you start running out and you're like, you can recycle things. And yes, new stuff comes up, but there's a lot of things that are very similar. But I'm excited about getting back into a show with Luke because he and I have not done a show together. I don't remember the last time. The last time was he and I has been a really long time, probably over a year. Mm-hmm. But doing, you know, like even one together period, it's probably been close to a year. Mm-hmm. I would say. So look for that. We'll send out a link to all of our normal places and so on tomorrow sometime. But I'm excited about that. That's gonna be fun.
So what is this thing, DJ, you call the long game board USPS box? I don't know what that is. Can you send me the model number? I don't know what that box is.
Yeah, we have this other big one over there that we have from Uline. We picked it up somewhere.
Oh,
that is really big. Like it's probably
bigger.
a 2 foot long box and about 15, 16 inches wide.
About 6 inches deep. It's not as deep as this one. I mean,
it would hold any boot, honestly. Yeah. But it's a large box to ship. It's just I don't know. The weight on it's probably not that high because it's not very thick. The sides of the box, but that'll be kind of there's definitely boots are a challenge.
Yeah, and I mean, these boxes, we're only going to use these fancy eBay boxes for genuine boots. Like I can Frankenbox like nobody's business. So I'm not really worried that we're not going to have shipping for it. But these bigger ones might come in handy to maintain the integrity of the original box.
Beth says you cannot use eBay boxes with Poshmark. That's interesting.
How come? The only thing I thought not allowed to do is use USPS boxes. Repurposed.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that either, Beth. Like you can't use a box that's branded with eBay on it. I guess that's their. Is that what you're contending? So I'm not really sure either. We're still learning the box and the shipping part of it because honestly, I really have gone into Poshmark knowing nothing, zero, nada, zilch. I knew it existed, and that was about it. So it's definitely a learning curve, which I like learning curves. I like learning new stuff, but it's a learning curve from day one.
Oh, and some comments have come in about what the game box board box thingy is. If it's a flat rate box, then yeah, it's not on my radar anymore. Those larger flat rate boxes are just too expensive. So I would have just.
Yeah, I don't think boots would fit a larger flat rate. Not the large flat rate, but like the medium flat rate. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, they're calling it game board box.
I've
biggest flat rate one.
I've heard of this box, but I have not seen it. I have heard like once because board games are weird shapes. They're kind of a strange thing to ship, and you can't fold them or bend them in any ways. So they have to kind of stay in that. They're long and not very tall. But I have not seen the game board box, but I have heard of it.
Right, and to be clear, you can't really Frankenbox a flat rate priority mail box, but you can Frankenbox a priority mail box, which is what we do with those two sizes. Like it says, you're not allowed to change.
Right.
The flat rate ones. There's a reason that's flat rate. It's consistent size.
Yeah, I mean UPS usually doesn't mind modifications to a box as long as you don't make it any bigger. That's one thing that's almost always a no-no is making a box bigger than it was before, like putting two boxes together and calling it one. They don't allow you to modify flat rates, as you said, but shipping boxes are different. They can be modified, and we've had great success shipping shoes with modified shipping boxes.
Well, in Euro Extreme, that's exactly why we went ahead and bought a bunch of these 16 by 12 by 8s from, well, didn't buy, they were free, let's be clear. But that's why we got this boot box from eBay, because we do have some cowboy and some muck boots that are just a little large, especially if we send them. Like there's also some cat boots, like there's some other companies back there. It's just a big honking boot, like your equestrian type, like riding boots. I get it. So this box should take care of that as well.
Yeah, and honestly, don't hit the camera.
I kicked it.
Rookie. So, and boots are great to sell only because they go for a lot of money. So you hate to turn them down, especially if you're a shoe seller, but shipping them is definitely one of the bigger challenges on dealing with boots, at least in our experience it has been.
Yep. Nerf guns. Yeah, Side Hustle Pro says Nerf guns go in the stacked shoe boxes as well. You're right. Nerf guns are a challenge. Tennis rackets are a challenge.
Yeah. Oh gosh, Nerf gun. Yeah. Like it's like I don't even know how does this stuff get shipped into stores? It must be like a bunch of them in one big box because it makes no sense. You wouldn't make a bunch of individual boxes. It's too expensive. Bonafides in the chat and says, know what sells well? Bags. I've heard about somebody talking about bags selling well lately. Who was that? I just can't remember who it was. They seem to be talking about that as of late and really advocating.
I can just see his face on the other end.
Selling bags.
You better have a big Cheshire cat grin on your face, Mr. Man.
Let's see. Bags of what? I don't think they've.
All right, bring it back, Prof. Bring
it back. Very serious here. It's part of YouTube. There's no laughing. There's no laughing on YouTube. I bought a bad guy from some character on YouTube. Yeah, you know, that's something we've never gone down the bag route, have we?
No.
Almost never. I don't know why. I think we're always so scared of fakes.
Yeah, when you say bags, you're talking about purses and backpacks.
Well, it could be backpacks. It could be the European bag, like on Seinfeld. We saw that episode, remember?
The Merce. Let's be clear.
It's a Merce.
It's a man
European
purse.
bag.
Whatever. I don't even watch Seinfeld, and I know about that one.
The Merce. That's pretty funny. Yeah, we just haven't gone down that road, but we probably could in some cases. In some instances, it's just not something we source a lot of. But there's absolutely profitable bags out there.
No, to be clear, I've done purses and wallets. In fact,
I
have
true.
some up that are right now. So, yeah.
Let's see. I can cut down the shoe boxes and create hinges with duct tape. Pack my item, then wrap the box with brown paper. That's nice. Yeah, and for me, it's like I just want to get the box done and make sure the item gets there safely. I don't want to spend too much time on it either, because it's like, man, like every minute I'm spending on trying to get that box frankenboxed, you're losing money. Like your hourly rate's dropping. So going back to work, check out my channel, y'all. Shameless self promo. Side Hustle Pro. You missed the beginning of the show. Oh, he took it off. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Lauren probably did.
Where we said, hey, you absolutely can do it. We would just ask that if you want to do that, please consider a super chat just to help out, as just because that's a recognized way to advertise your channel on YouTube. You go into live chats and throw up a super chat so it shows up at the top and people can see it, and not a problem at all. And I've seen your channel before, and people should absolutely go check it out. I just can't stand to buy the right boxes, Jason. You know, you just like modifying boxes. That's your thing. Go for it. I have a 53-inch woolly mammoth I'm trying to find a box for. At first, I read that as 53 foot. And I thought,
did too.
First of all, that's a big mammoth. I don't know why that made me laugh so hard. That's a big mammoth.
It's, I think maybe there's some carbon monoxide in the warehouse today. I'm not sure. We're a little too giddy.
But she said 53-inch woolly mammoth, which is huge.
Plushie.
That's like over 4 feet. That's a big mammoth.
It's probably a stuffed animal, so she needs to.
Nice mammoth. I don't know why I find that so funny. Sadie, you don't have a channel. Please dent check out my channel, he said, but then he put don't. I was going to check it out, but I didn't know what the word dent meant. So
oh, boy.
Just messing with you, Sadie. I think the word woolly mammoth is just funny. Yeah, I mean, mammoth is just a funny, I don't know why I found that so funny in the moment. It just weird.
Oh, fencing mask and sword. Nice, Melissa.
Ooh. Oh, my gosh. Never found those before. That must have been quite a story where you ain't even found them.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a mammoth that big. True story. They're actually trying to use DNA and replicate mammoths. That's a real thing. Like trying to bring those back. Why? I don't know why. I don't know why that makes sense. But apparently, I think I read that a few months ago. I don't think they've been successful. We should have called it something about the mammoth. I don't know. Jeez, it's so dumb. I'm sorry. My sense of humor is very weird. Pretty much all the time. Let's see. And she had to take it down because she didn't have a big enough box to send it. Yeah, honestly, it's like, what the heck would you send it in? So Goodwill bins for fencing stuff. Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Oh, that's very cool. Well, that's where we found that scuba suit too. Mm-hmm. So
yep, that
neoprene suit.
The one home run that kind of made it worth it, or maybe made it worth it.
Monmouth mammoth.
Try hitting up
Adam. I see what you did there.
Monmouth. Try hitting Michael's up on Tuesdays for large boxes, but you have to be really early in the morning. Dragon says. Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you for the tip.
On that mammoth, though, stop. It's just a mammoth.
Are we going back to the mammoth?
We're going back to the mammoth because I want her to list and sell her mammoth. Anyway, maybe an appliance store, like maybe a microwave box, a microwave box, or a dishwasher box. Because you're right, but if it is a plush, or is it?
I don't think it fit in a microwave box.
Is it a taxidermy?
And you should
mammoth?
never microwave a mammoth.
No, Skip. You're just in time to see it all fall apart before your very eyes.
We are totally off the rails, and it's my fault. Back to the tar pits, more likely. Nice. That is where that was Jurassic Park, where the mammoth, or no, it was Volcano, where the one sunk into the tar pits.
Poor
underrated movie. A volcano erupts right in the middle of Los Angeles, which I actually would be okay with. No, I'm just kidding. No, nothing against LA.
Poor woolly mammoth. There, I said the whole word. I gather. Yeah, well, Skip.
I didn't want to squish his trunk.
Oh, well, that's a good point. You know, you can't have your mammoth trunk squished. All right, we need to just move on from here, I think.
What the hell's going on?
Look at your extreme. There will be no laughing. When you come to YouTube, no laughing.
No laughing on our channel. This is very serious business.
Very, very serious.
It's very, never mind.
So did we even have a topic today? What was it?
We did. Cross-posting on eBay and Poshmark. And I think we covered it quite well to our ability.
I think we did. And we'll keep you guys updated. Poshmark is not the only new endeavor we're going to be cross-posting, adventuring out into. But we will let you know. And whether it turns out well or it doesn't or whatever, however it looks like, we will keep you updated. And as always, be honest and forthcoming and share our thoughts, good, bad, and otherwise on it, right?
Yep, absolutely. So, sorry. My brain is weird.
I think there's going to be mammoth comments for days now.
We're out of here. I mean, but thank you guys for showing up. Check out the description for all kinds of helpful links, and consider subscribing, just like Kaaren said.
And mammothly like the video. Subscribe if you're new, and come and hang out with us whenever you can, because there's
smash the like button with your mammoth tusk. Mammoth.
Do you think they made a noise like a anyway?
Absolutely,
because that's what mammoths do. But yeah, so okay.
Mammoth profits to you.
There we go. So as always, let's bring it back. As always, this is Just Ask Kaaren
and Prof Sales
saying mammoth profit sales to you.